Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori Brame and this is Holy City Mystic. So today I want to talk about something that can be kind of confusing when you're first learning astrology, and that is the difference between where something is placed in a house versus where it is placed in a sign. Now, if you're like I was or like I am now with certain things and you Google something, you might run into a situation where, hang on, my cat's like, this is my cat. Want to meet my cat? That's my cat. He's sweet. He's really sweet. He's one of those cats that you can do like literally anything to him and he's like totally fine with it. So that's fine. He's purring right now. He's great. So it can be a little bit frustrating when you Google something and it's like, if this is in Taurus or the second house, but then usually you don't have something in Taurus and in the second house at the same time. And so it can be kind of difficult to kind of unravel like, well, it's in the 8th house, but it's also in Taurus. So how does that look? What's that supposed to be? So it's kind of like you have to learn 4 things in order to only learn one thing, because you have to look at 8th house versus second house, Taurus versus Scorpio, like all this stuff. And it can get kind of hairy and hard to boil it down. So I'm going to break it down for you. Hopefully this is helpful. Looking at the sign something is in and the house it's in is really apples and oranges. And the best way I can describe it is the sign is what essence the placement takes on. The planet, the luminary, whatever is in there. That is how it acts. The house is where it shows up in your life. So I thought of an analogy for this. The sign is the outfit that planet has on. The house is where it goes. So just as an example, Saturn. Saturn is a very cold planet. It rules the 2 coldest signs of the year if you're in the northern hemisphere. So it rules Aquarius and it rules Capricorn. So you can think of Saturn as being like really bundled up. So if you as a person are really bundled up and you go to like a tropical island, you're probably going to be really uncomfortable. And that is where Saturn is the most uncomfortable in the 2 warmest signs of the year, Cancer and Leo. And so that is something that you really want to look at is what is the sign wearing? What environment is the sign where the planet is placed? And what is the planet naturally wearing? So Venus, very at home in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, it's very happy in Taurus. If you flip-flop that Venus and put it in Scorpio, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, Venus's counterpart. Mars represents the masculine, Venus represents the feminine. So if you put Venus in Scorpio, it's a lot more uncomfortable. It has to do a lot. It has to work a lot harder than if Venus is in Taurus. So just looking at the placement in the sign, you're kind of looking at what that placement is wearing. Now, if you want to see where it shows up in your life, you are going to look at the house. Now, of course, this brings up house systems. Which one's correct? Which one's the most accurate? The answer is all of them. Whole sign tends to be more accurate when it's talking about outside events. So things that are happening to you, things that you can actually see in the real world around you. So that's why a lot of astrologers say it's more accurate, but it is more accurate from the outside looking in. Other house systems like Koch or Placidus, they tend to be more subjective. They tend to be inside looking out, how something feels. So the house placement might shift according to where that planet is in the chart. So this is not my example, but it is my experience. I was listening to a podcast with Jen Zart the other day. I am name dropping her because she said this. It was not me originally, but it is something that I live out every day of my life. If you have your sun in the 12th house, Placidus, you tend to be very reserved, need a lot of alone time, kind of feel like nobody really knows you. A lot of your world is inside. However, if your sun switches over to the first sign, whole sign, you are very popular. Everybody knows who you are. You tend to have a very outward facing thing. So all these people notice you, all these people know you, and you're kind of like, why? Like, I'm so private. Like, that's so weird. And so this is something that I actually have in my chart where Placidus, very internalized sun, very 12th house sun. Whole sign, I have 3 YouTube channels. I manage an entire center at work. Like, literally everybody knows who I am. And so it's that difference there where it's like from the outside looking in, yes, I have a very 1st house sun. From the inside looking out, I'm very 12th house. I'm very reserved, very quiet. So big ol' thank you to Jen Zart for really shedding the light on that. So I do not believe that the sign that something is in is the same as the house that it's in. So that's why on my videos you will never see me saying if this is in the first house or if this is an Aries, because to me they're just completely different. They're totally apples and oranges. As far as which one is more important, the answer is both. I mean, everybody has an outer outfit. Every planet, where it's placed in the chart, is going to have an essence that it carries with it. And then it's always going to be in a house, whether that shows up in your second house of finances or your 10th house, the house of career. It's always going to show up somewhere. So you really do have to look at both. I think they're both very important. And as far as house systems, I would really look at both. I mean, I really think that's the best way to do it, because one is the way it feels, the other one is the way it looks, like the way it plays out from the outside. So if you guys have any questions or examples from your own chart, I would love to hear about them in the comments. That's my cat again, he's so loud, I'm so sorry. And as always, thank you guys for being here, and I will talk to you later.